Mercedes AMG Interview Lounge.
I want to talk to her. Tones and I, yay! You're here. She just went to a National Basketball Association game last night.
Oh, nice.
Who are the Nets?
Yeah, it was my first NBA game.
What'd you think?
Did you play or just...
Yeah, I did, but they subbed me straight away, so...
Yeah. How was it?
It was really fun. It was probably the coolest thing I've ever been through. I grew up playing basketball, so that was, for me, was like, you only see that on TV.
See, that's the thing. When you see a basketball game with the professional players on TV, it's great. But when you're there and you see how monstrous they are and how they look at each other in their eyes, and it's intense.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely an experience and something I want to do heaps more now that I'm over here for a while.
So do you have a list of things? Hey, I'm in America. I have a list of things I want to do. So, okay, done. Basketball game, out.
Yeah.
What's next?
I want to go to a baseball game because we don't really even have baseball in Australia. So, like, that's going to be huge. Like, something that I've never experienced before.
I'll recommend a good team for you, the New York Yankees. That would be a good game to go to.
You see, we have the Yankees and the Mets. She's a Yankees fan. These guys are Mets fans, so they hate each other. They really do. They really do. Hey, so let's talk about, we'll start with Dance Monkey.
Okay.
I'm sure you've played the song more than you probably want to play it. I don't know. But it exploded online. Everyone just fell in love with it. I mean, can you grasp how huge that song has become yet?
No, I actually haven't. It's hard to really understand yet. Sometimes I really think a little bit and I can kind of start to, but if I'm honest with myself, like, no, I actually haven't realized yet what's even happened.
It's happening.
Yeah.
I mean, here you are in New York going to National Basketball Association, NBA games, and arguably the biggest show in radio. We begged you to come up today, and you said, okay. I love it. So with the success of Dance Monkey, now you're like, oh, what's next? I mean, how does an artist like you, how do you plan on moving forward? Do you have another album ready to put out? I mean, are you already writing songs?
Yeah, so I've almost finished my debut album. And I'd probably say there's like a few songs that need to be fully finished, but I'm going to drop a few songs early, so really soon, just because I didn't want to wait till the whole album was done to drop some music.
Right, because you don't have to do it that way anymore.
Yeah.
They used to do that back in the old days. And now you just drop the songs as you want to drop them.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, Never Seen the Rain. The lyrics, by the way, to Never Seen the Rain, what a fantastic story. Is that really sort of a story of one of your life perspectives?
Yeah, definitely. I lived like that. I lived in a way where it's like, it was just comfortable what I was doing. I worked in retail. I was getting by. I could pay rent and stuff, but I wasn't really doing anything I wanted to do. So.
But you were out on the streets. You were out in public just performing for people just walking by.
But that was like me when I decided to move out of that comfortable space and live in my van and move to Byron Bay and be a street performer. That was me like after the fact. And like actually doing something about it, you know?
Did you find that, I mean, being frightened was actually a great thing sometimes?
Yeah, absolutely.
People are nervous to be uncomfortable.
I think like I had my biggest like feelings of happiness after I did things that really scared me. What's that saying? Like the biggest sense of happiness is on the other side of fear.
I see that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I always say there's a thin line between being afraid and being excited.
Yeah.
I mean, are you afraid to be? I mean, is this fearful for you sitting in front of a microphone? I mean, are you used to this?
It's not it's not the most comfortable thing. But I do enjoy it, and like I don't like freak out or anything. But I used to, just to have interviews.
Oh, come on, freak out.
I can't.
If you melt down, I'll melt down. We melt down. We've actually made a living out of melting down in here every day.
I want to know how one goes from busking, from like street performing, to recording a single. Like where did the two meet?
So I was playing Dance Monkey on the street for like 4 months. And I didn't want to release a song. I was like saving up money to record. But I was like adamant that I would not release a song until I had like 10,000 followers from busking. So from those genuine experience face to face with other people to then release my first song, because then I had enough followers for something to actually come of it, maybe, instead of just being a person that released something they wrote in their room one night and released it the next morning.
Wow.
Well, how much money do you have to save to record a song? I mean, we have no clue how that works.
Yeah.
Is it really costly?
Well, I wrote Dance Monkey on my own, and it cost me $800 to record it.
Wow. Wow.
Sounds like a bargain, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
I mean,
it was a lot of money at the time, you know what I mean?
Okay, so in a day, you would be standing on the street or on the sidewalk where people are walking by, enjoying life. What was like a good daily intake of cash?
Well, New Year's Eve one time, I made like $1,000. But that's only because I was selling demo CDs.
Right.
But then just busking like for tips, I don't know, I guess. If you bust every single day for 6 hours, you could, I could earn sometimes more than I was in retail, and sometimes I could earn way less and just have enough for food and put a bit of petrol in my van.
Wow. Did anybody ever come and give you like a big tip?
Yeah, one time one guy like waved $100 in front of my bucket, and everyone was like, do it. But he was like really drunk, so like the crowd egged him on to do it, and I was like, as soon as he did it, I looked at one of my friends like, take that out now and put it in your pocket.
Exactly. I don't trust these people.
Right, exactly.
So I must assume that having someone give you money for your performance is one thing, but having someone look you in the eye and say, hey, you know what, you really have something here. Do you remember ever being totally shocked at someone looking at you saying, hey, you really have something here. You've got a future in this. You got to keep doing this. Was there ever a person you wish you could call right now and say, hey, thank you. You actually pushed me over the edge?
Well, my manager that I have right now found me on the street, so him, but he's still my manager. So I'll call him and tell him this after the interview. But yeah, I would say him for sure. A lot of other people were just mainly just drunk people that were like, oh, you are one of the best buskers I've ever seen. Good on you, mate.
So that's a compliment.
It is, yes.
And by the way, for the record, I'm as drunk as hell right now. I think you're fabulous. I don't know what it's like to be sober, but I just, we've had so many artists sit in this chair. And to hear their story, I was saying this earlier, it changes the music.
Yep.
We used to live in a world where an artist would put out a song and say, you know what, however you want to interpret this song, it's your story. Mm-hmm. Just, you apply your life to my story that I wrote. No, I would rather hear your story about why you wrote a song, where it comes from, because that makes it unique. It makes it special. For instance, Never Seen the Rain. If you look at the lyrics of this song, it's like, I'm assuming you grow up in this world where, you're not living fully. You're not seeing everything. You're not seeing the full picture because you're holding yourself back a little, or others are holding you back. Is that close to what these lyrics are about? Yeah. And how does it apply to you?
Well, I mean, I think that the song I wrote was like, you're just coasting by. It's not a story about a really, really hard life. It's a story about not pushing yourself because enough is okay for you, and being one of those people. So you haven't experienced true pain and true loss, but you haven't experienced anything great either. So you kind of just stayed on that line of being comfortable, never really, really happy, and never horribly sad. And then, and I guess the rain, sometimes we dance in it and sometimes we hate it. And I feel like, it kind of, in this sense, is a good and a bad thing. And the way I see it is like, I took that chance to live in my car and be a street performer, and I made that decision. That's not something that just happened by fault. And by that, I was uncomfortable. I wasn't living comfortably, but it was the best time of my life. And then I've lived 3 very separate lives in the last 2 years. I've worked 9 to 5 in retail, paid rent, lived with my friends in Melbourne. Then I've lived out of my car in Byron Bay in a small coastal town and busked for money. And now I'm here. So, it's just like, if I never took that chance, then, those last 2 things would have never have happened, and I'd just be living that safe life.
Wow. I'm going to play it for you. You want to hear it?
Yep.
Never Seen the Rain, Tones and I.
Thanks for playing this song.
I love this song.
This is my favorite song on the...
I cried watching your video yesterday.
So good.
He cries at everything, though. He's a big boy.
Absolutely.
Why is it your favorite song?
Well, all my best friends are on the track. When it sounds like there's a choir at the end, they're just all my best friends. They're not even singers. They were my friends from Byron that I met at the hostel. Also, I just feel like it's got a little bit more emotion, and Dance Monkey, I wrote it in such a high tone for my voice that I don't really get to play around with it vocally. It just has to be sung there every time. But that one just gives me more freedom, and it's more like about my life as a whole, whereas like some other songs are about either a story about someone else or a specific moment.
Right. And we were saying also that if you're listening to the lyrics of that song, maybe you're living that life where the highs and the lows are kind of chopped off, and you're just living this middle ground, safe.
Yeah.
I have just no emotion, either good or bad kind of life.
Nate just said he saw the video and it made him cry.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
I like it when you cry.
It's emotional.
This guy, he's not even 40 years old, and he's had 2 strokes already. So I know, but the things you learn from having strokes, but it's another story. Anyway.
She's like, okay,
great.
I'm nervous about myself now.
I know. This is a very dangerous room. People are dropping like flies in this place. Your songs have great messages, and we assume they're very personal messages.
Yeah. This one especially, yeah.
And we're going through life all the time. People going, God, I'm so unhappy today. It's okay.
Yeah.
Be unhappy.
Exactly.
Embrace it. But I'm looking at your tour dates. Look at this list,
I know,
Danielle.
you're not resting.
Sheesh. Austin, Dallas, London, United Kingdom, Dublin. Wow. Germany, the Netherlands, Germany, blah, 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 blah. And then down here to New York in April, Bowery Ballroom, and then Theater of Living Arts in Philadelphia. Music Hall. I don't know why I'm reading all these, because I've heard these are all sold out.
Yeah.
Wow. So when did you get that phone call? How did
Just
that?
last night, actually, when I got back from the NBA game. Yeah.
And
They're
they said, hey,
congratulations. I was like, sick. That's awesome. This is my first proper tour. So.
Wow. Yes.
Wow.
Sorry about that. I got bad news.
Yeah.
Can't fit any more people in. They'll shut you down. But you're going all over the world. I can't imagine what it's like growing up a little girl in Australia. Now here you are traveling around the world with your music and your message.
And you met your Macklemore, your favorite person in the whole world.
Yeah, talk about that. You were in Seattle doing a show, right?
Yeah, I was in Seattle doing a show, and obviously, like, I always talk about how much I love Macklemore and his music. And then he just like rocked up into my dressing room, into my green room, and yeah, we chatted, and then he watched the show, and then called me back again and said, "Do you want to work together?"
Oh, so I didn't know this part. He asked if you wanted to work together.
Yeah, but it was like.
Did you say no? I hope you said no. Hold out. Just say nah.
Nah, I don't feel like it.
No, I mean, it's like, for me, that's like, something huge that I've always wanted to do. And I always say to myself, 5-year goals. I said that probably like a few weeks ago, maybe at the start of the year. So now I just don't know what to do from here.
It'll all come naturally.
Yeah.
And you'll start meeting more and more of these artists, and you're going to impress yourself more and more about, wow, they want to work with me.